Hey folks, welcome to More Than Refresh, the T3D sessions. Today we have Reza from Kwaai, which is an open source AI nonprofit. Reza, introduce yourself and let us know what we're talking about today.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Josh. Thanks for having me on your show. Yeah, my name's Reza Rassool. I am the chair of Kwaai. Kwaai is a non-profit AI lab. We've now got over 1,000 volunteers building and researching open source AI to make it safer, faster, and greener.
Oh,
Uh,
greener, I
I'm
like that.
Yes. So look, I'm retired now, but busier than ever, busier than when I had a proper W-2 gig. I've been really fortunate to have had um, a, a great tech career, two exits to Google. I capped off my career with a tour of duty as CTO at Real Networks. But now I'm retired, so now I'm running Kwaai.
Oh, real networks. You and I, not directly, but we indirectly crossed paths back in the 90s with real networks when they first came out. I used to live stream from Windows NT workstation th- over ISDN to our
Gosh.
website as I was hacking around on old Linux boxes to, basically administrate people's personal email and things like that. This is way back when personal or private ISPs were a thing. That's how I kind of got my start in the industry. And back when the screen, your actual streaming was at best 320 by 240, right? And all pixelated versus now where, we're streaming 4K. But yeah, so that was kind of when I saw you had a stint at Real Networks, it was like, oh my gosh, the nostalgia. Um, I'm not retired, but I understand the being so busy once you're retired because all of a sudden I'm getting there, right? I'm in that weird age where could I retire? Maybe, right? But the because of that, I'm doing a lot of advising and a lot of mentoring and those types of things along with my day job. Um, what is it? Tell us about Kwaai. You said greener, and this is a little close to my heart because I am in direct, let's say, conflict with a company that is trying to build a data center about 25 miles from me. And I'm not anti data center. Don't get me wrong. I am a technologist. I'm not a Luddite, but they really want to put it in a bad spot. And so the greener is interest to me.
Yeah, so look, we all know the complaints about um, the data center's bad carbon footprint. AI has got a disastrous carbon footprint, um,
Mhm.
and it doesn't help when Sam Altman boasts with every prompt that you give to ChatGPT, it consumes a couple of bottles of water. Okay, so that's not sustainable. Um, is there a better way of doing things? And we feel that there is, and it's all about moving AI from the clouds of a half a dozen oligarchs down to the edge. Um, we've been peddled this lie that our computers are nothing more than portals into somebody else's computer, so you can
Right.
rent time on someone else's computer. Your machine, yeah, just the browser. That's all you can use on your machine. Your machine is only good for supporting a browser. But no, Moore's law says different. Our machines are getting more and more powerful, and there's a massive amount of underutilized capacity at the edge. Let's see if we can string that together.
Well, a couple of things. One, yes, more
Hmm.
powerful, but also more efficient.
More
Right?
efficient.
The
Exactly.
machine I'm
Yeah.
running an Ultra 7 V Pro Evo edition in my X1 car. I was looking down at the actual sticker.
Hmm.
My X1 Carbon, and it's I think 16 core, 32 gig of RAM, and I can literally beat on this thing all day. 10
Yeah.
years ago, the Intel Core 7 could not do that. You could
Yeah.
idle it, you could check email, but all day with unplugged, no way, right? I 5, 6, 7, 8 hours actually beating on this thing and it's still operational. If I close the laptop and I walk away from it for 4 days, I come back, it still has battery. So I agree with you. One, let's be very clear. There is no doubt that, and I don't blame the Ogliarchs, okay? All they are doing is filling the gap of laziness of people. That's
Yes,
all they're doing.
yes,
Okay.
right,
So if people want to go out there and ugly arc, that's just you diverting from the problem. You're ignoring the fact that it's you that doesn't want to buy a 4K disc and would rather rent Netflix. It's you that want to use Google Docs instead of downloading a word processor. It's you that wants to run RDS instead of, buying having a colo or, renting for, buying machines. Now, is that a good or bad thing? I don't know, honestly, anymore. I used to have very strong opinions about it, but I mean, I think we have to be fair in that if they weren't offering the service people wanted, they wouldn't be in the position that they're in.
right. So I think the role of a nonprofit is to provide an alternate. And yeah, you're absolutely right. If that alternate is greener, but it's clunkier to use, then people aren't going to take it. But people didn't buy Teslas because they were tree huggers. They bought it because it was actually a better car. I had a Model S. I was an early adopter before I
That's a
found out
nice
that the
car.
the company owner was a fascist. But then I sold it. But okay, apart from that, apart from that, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you enjoy the theatre? Um, it's important that we in if we're trying to create a better public alternative, that it shouldn't be crappier. So um, it needs to be really have compelling um, utility, and
It,
that's important.
it, if you want mass adoption, absolutely. I'm in
Yeah.
the nonprofit space too. I have founded two nonprofits, and I've sat on the board of four. And nonprofits, 501(c)(3)s are for the public benefit.
Yeah.
Right. It's not for the shareholder benefit. It's not for, the client benefit. It is for the public benefit. So I
Mhm.
absolutely agree with you. And I also agree with your assertion. I mean, the reality is I believe, well, Google Docs is a good example because I do use Google Docs. If there was a comparable alternative for just getting the job done that I could download, I would. And as much as I mean, I've run my company on LibreOffice for decades. It does do the job, but it doesn't do it like Google Docs. I mean,
Right.
when it talks, and so if using your example, we can bring AI to the edge and frankly, just take advantage of some of that really fast networking we have now that we didn't have 20 years ago. I'm all
Yeah.
for it. Are you using a peer-to-peer protocol or is it a,
Yes. Yes, we
distributed
are.
hub or
So we found a project called Petals, which was a bit of a ghost town. It was a research sandbox, and so we kind of took it over. No, we gained inspiration from it. Let's say, and we experimented with, can you run a large language model distributed across multiple nodes? And this was 2 years ago. We showed, yes, you can. You can run it where the model won't fit in any one of the nodes' memory, but you can actually run it across multiple nodes. Yeah, it's slower. It's slower than running it on, if you had an H100 and you put the model in there,
sure?
it'll run
Right.
faster. Duh. Okay, but for just as a sandbox science experiment, we showed that we could run it distributed across multiple nodes. That
So
was
you
a big
created BitTorrent for AI?
exactly. So that was a big unwieldy Python project with all of the problems that Python projects have, the
Sure.
sort of dependency hell, the cybersecurity flaws that you can't fix because you don't have control over all of the components in the stack. So we took that as far as we could go. We got up to about 100 nodes on the network. Intel supported us, the Intel Cloud. Part of it was, we got some credits from them to test out the infrastructure across multiple nodes. But then we decided to draw a line under that and recode the entire stack in Rust. And we're midway through doing that at the moment. And now instead of installing in 45 minutes, it installs in 8 seconds. In fact, it's like 5 seconds. You can go and install it. And you end up with a node that sits on your computer, does nothing, okay. But when your machine is idle, it's now available for other people to use. So the number of times your machine goes into the idle cycle, it's still drawing power from the grid. I mean, but now it
Sure.
becomes available to the rest of the network, and so it can participate in computation. And imagine if that was connected to a wallet, and you now can earn a passive income from your machine's idle time. When you want to use it, when you interact with your machine, it's yours 100%. But this is like regenerative braking on that car that I bought a while back.
S-
Yeah.
So, it's interesting. I mean, and I mean, absolute, no disrespect with this. I mean, honestly,
Mm.
respect. Uh, it's not even BitTorrent. It's SETI at home.
It's SETI at home. It's alpha folding at home. It's doing something uh, for public benefit. Well, yeah, in the end, it's taking the load off the electrical grid and distributing it across the entire
Right.
geography of the network, rather than having concentrated in one zip code in your backyard, having the grid in your backyard where it'll turn out that you're going to end up paying higher electrical bills because of the extra sort of infrastructure provisioning to support that data center.
Well, to affirm that statement,
Mm.
coming back to that data center that I mentioned earlier, there's
Yeah.
a company, I think it's Crumba. They're trying
Mm.
to put a data center in a little town called Bonner. It's outside of Missoula, Montana. Um, and the reason it's attractive to them is there was a data center in the building previously that got kicked out, and it got kicked out because it was Bitcoin mining essentially. It was air cooled. It's the town is very small and it's in a valley, and so it was very noisy. And
Yes.
so the citizens are rightfully very concerned about this new data center. One, because let me be very clear, they lied outright about the number of jobs it was going to bring. They lied outright about the environmental impact.
Right.
But what they didn't, one of the things that they didn't talk about is evaporative cooling.
Mm.
Now,
Yes.
evaporative cooling is a reasonable way to cool things. Lots of homes do it. But in a concentrated state of even a small data center, and this would be a small data center comparatively, not like that Shark Tank, not nice person. I'm not gonna. I can't. I am trying to be professional, but this guy,
Okay.
I
Right.
do not like what this guy's doing. It's a small data center comparatively, but even uh, as small as it is, the evaporative cooling is going to create a heat sink signature of approximately what 1,500 homes would be.
Mhm.
Now,
Mhm.
if this was open space, it wouldn't be as much of a concern. But since we're in a valley next to a river, what's going to end up happening, and we're in an area that, I mean, it's Montana, we get snow and lots of below freezing temperatures all the way into June sometimes. What ends up happening is it will create what? Fog, and then it will get below zero. And as air rises, it gets cooler. And what does that create? It creates freezing fog. So it in the summer, it's going to create a hotter microclimate for this small little town. In the winter, it's going to create a colder, more dangerous environment for human safety. And they're completely blowing off these concerns. And they're not these are not little concerns. These aren't like, well, you're going to use a lot of water. Yes, they're going to use a lot of water, but from a climate perspective, water comes back, right? Evaporates out, moves along, comes back down as rain. Okay, so as long as you don't deplete the aquifer, that is not nearly as much as an issue as the fact that the water that they're using is polluted, and things like evaporative cooling that can completely redefine your climate in a something like a small valley. So the fact that you're
Yeah.
doing greener to me is probably more important at this point. But the edge stuff, I love AI
Yeah.
as SETI at home. I mean, that's fantastic.
Well, one of the big criticisms when we started this, and it was a criticism that actually came from one of our board members, was, "Hey, I I don't want part of my private data sitting on my neighbor's computer, even if it's just a sliver of it."
Sure.
So we kicked off a research project into solving that problem, and it turns out that there are theoretical solutions for it. And it's in the whole area called homomorphic encryption.
Right.
Imagine an encryption scheme where you can encrypt documents, but you can still do mathematical operations on the documents in their encrypted form. So you don't have to give someone the password to unzip it. Um, Currently, when you use AI, when you use Sam Altman's AI, or even Dario's AI, and they say, well, you need to upload your context document, you're doing that in the clear. Yeah, it's okay. It's encrypted over the pipe, but when they get it the other end,
Yeah,
it's
but once
clear.
they have it, it'll yeah.
And they have it. They have it in perpetuity. And in fact, it's Sam Altman's professed business model that, well, AE owns the data now. He's free to resell it to data brokers. He's free to mine it for um, to target advertising, to bombard you, to spam you with crap he thinks you might want to buy.
I think we can
Um,
agree that
yeah.
Sam Altman is a psychopath. I mean, it's
Okay. Um, so, so the problem is using AI is actually leaking your private information, whether it's our distributed AI or whether it's the AI of the oligarchs. Okay, so there's this massive wealth transfer that's underway of our wisdom is going into the pockets of these few corporations, and
correct.
it's allowing them to train better models and condemns us forever to become renters, to remain renters of our own data. We
It's
sent our data to
1984.
them. Yes, we,
It's
we,
1984.
we are perpetually going to be renters.
I
So,
actually
yeah. Hmm.
I have a suggestion for you as we wrap up here.
Go
And first off, we should really have had this on the longer format because I think you and I could easily kill an hour on this without even blinking.
easily.
Um, but as we wrap this up, one of the things that would help your um, board member,
Uh-huh.
the encryption's great, and I think it's required. Don't get me wrong, but there are
Yeah.
ways even around that problem that are safe, or I should say reasonably safe. But one thing that would probably help, and when we get offline, I'll drop you an email about it. But it's basically notary of action. And what notary of action is that regardless of the node that you would be on, an agent would say, "I need X resources to run ABC," and the resources would respond, "The four of us can help you out." And they would negotiate a notary of action that says, I'm taking this, I'm taking this, I'm taking this, I'm taking this. This agent would say, thank you so much, record, everything happens, and they all come back together. And then a note, just like a human notary, everything gets signed in a durable state that ensures that anything that happens has that chain of evidence. So
Okay.
that agent could then come back, the human could come back on the requesting agent and say, what happened? And its requesting agent would say, these four nodes that are signed, however they're signed, I submitted based on their willingness to participate, the work. And this node gave me back this node gave me back this, so on and so forth. And here is your end result. So if there's ever any bad actor that injects in the middle, if there's
Uh-huh.
any bug, core dump, some kind of
Uh-huh.
technological mistake, it gets recorded at the notary of action, and you have a canonical source of all things that happen within the mesh.
Yeah.
It removes a huge amount of liability as a whole for everybody and each agent.
It's a vital part. It's the sort of top layer of our three-layer mesh. It's storage, compute, and then the business layer. And frankly, we haven't built the business layer. It's in theoretical documents and white papers that describe the sort of thing that you're describing there, the development of a smart contract when a circuit is created. So
Mhm.
your what you described there. So we do get this peer-to-peer circuit that gets created for a particular session, and a smart contract gets created. But frankly, we haven't implemented it yet. It's all in kind of white paper form. So I'm looking forward to discussing with you further.
All right, folks, this has been another More Than a Refresh of T3D sessions with Reza from Kwaai, open source nonprofit AI at the edge. Thank you so much for joining us, Reza.